Hey guys, it's Miss Moody. I just wanted to read to you today, start the book Clementine, which I told you about, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before, I don't remember. But this is what I always start every year reading. It's my favorite book to read aloud, and it always introduces you guys to new chapter books, new books in a series. If you're not ready for chapter books yet, which is totally fine, this is great to read with your parents. You can read a chapter a night, you can read a page, your parents can read a page, and they're really funny stories. So we're going to start with Clementine. I'm going to read the first couple of chapters and just give you a little something to listen to this weekend. And we will do this. I will post me reading at least 4 days a week. I'll try to do 5, but at least 4, okay? So this is Clementine, and it doesn't have a lot of pictures, but when it does, they're pictures like this, and I'll show them to you, okay? So if I don't turn around and show it, that means there wasn't a picture to go along with that page. But here is what Clementine looks like. You can see her on the cover too. And this is written by Sarah Pennypacker. So if you ever are looking for a good author, she's a really great one to read her books. Chapter 1. I have had not so good of a week. Well, Monday was a pretty good day, if you don't count hamburger surprise at lunch and Margaret's mother coming to get her. Or the stuff that happened in the principal's office when I got there. When I got sent there to explain that Margaret's hair was not my fault. And besides, she looks okay without it. But I couldn't because Principal Rice was gone trying to calm down Margaret's mother. Someone should tell you not to answer the phone in the principal's office, if that's a rule. Okay, fine. Monday was not so good of a day. Which was a surprise because it started off with 2 lucky signs, which fooled me. First, there were exactly enough banana slices in my cereal, 1 for every spoonful. Then, as soon as I got to school, my teacher said, the following students are excused from journal writing so they can go to the art room to work on their Welcome to the Future projects. And I was one of the following students. So instead of having to think up things to write in my journal, which I hate, I got to glue and paint and stuff, which I love. Margaret was in the art room too. When I sat down next to her, she threw herself across her Princess from the Future mask she was gluing sparkles onto. Remember the rules, she warned. Margaret is in 4th grade and I am in 3rd. She thinks that makes her the boss of me. I do not like Margaret's rules. You can't touch my stuff, she said, which she always says. Why? I said, which I always say. Because it's the rule, Margaret said, which she always says. Why? I said. Because you can't touch my stuff, she said. And then I pointed out the window, which wasn't exactly lying because I didn't say there was something out there. While Margaret was looking at the window, I accidentally touched her mask. Twice. Okay, fine. Then I got busy working on my project so I wouldn't have to hear any Clementine, pay attentions. That's Margaret with her hands over her stuff saying, you can't touch my stuff. Except I did anyway, which was unfair because each time I was the only person in the whole art room who was paying attention. Which is why I could tell everyone right in the middle of the Pledge of Allegiance that the lunchroom lady was sitting in the janitor's car. No one else saw this scene because no one else was paying attention out the window. And after that, when it was my turn to pass around the stapler, I could tell everyone that the art teacher's scarf had an egg stain on it that looked, if you squinted, exactly like a pelican, which nobody else noticed. Clementine, you need to pay attention, the art teacher said one more time. And just like the other times, I was paying attention. I was paying attention to Margaret's empty seat. Margaret had been excused to go to the girls' room, and when she left, she had scrunched up don't cry eyes and a pressed down don't cry mouth. And she had been gone a really long time. Even for Margaret, who washes her hands 1 finger at a time. I need to go to the girls' room, I told my teacher. And that's where Margaret was all right, curled up under the sink with her head on her knees. Margaret, I gasped, you're sitting on the floor. Margaret hitched herself over to the side a little so I could see. She'd placed a germ-protective layer of paper towels under her. Still, I said, what's the matter? Margaret pressed her head down harder into her knees, which were all shiny with tears. She pointed up. Lying on the sink, next to a pair of do not remove from the art room scissors, was a chunk of straight brown hair. Uh-oh. Come out, Margaret, I said. Let me see. Margaret shook her head. I'm not coming out until it's grown back. Well, I think I see a germ crawling up your dress. Margaret jumped out from under the sink. She looked at herself in the mirror and began to cry again. I got glue in my hair, she sobbed. I was just trying to cut it out. Margaret's hair was halfway down her back long. It was hard not to notice that the whole part over her left ear was missing. Maybe if we evened up a chunk over your right ear, I suggested. Margaret wiped her eyes dry and nodded. She handed me the scissors. I cut. We looked back in the mirror. It's like bangs, I said, trying to cheer her up. Sort of. Except bangs are in the front of your hair, not the sides, Margaret reminded me. Then she took a deep sigh, picked up the scissors, and cut off all the hair over her forehead. Now the front half of her hair was all chopped off, and the back half was long and straight and shiny. Not so good, Margaret said, looking in the mirror. Not so good, I agreed. We looked at her not so good hair in the mirror for a really, really long time without saying anything, which is hard for me. Then Margaret's bottom lip began to shiver and her eyes filled up with tear balls again. She handed the scissors back to me and then she closed her eyes and turned around. All of it? I asked. All of it. So I did. Which is not exactly easy with those plastic art scissors, let me tell you. And just as I was finishing, the art teacher came in looking for us. Clementine, she shouted. What are you doing? And then Margaret went all historical, and the art teacher went all historical, and nobody could think of anything to do except the regular thing, which is to send me to the principal's office. While I was waiting there, I drew a picture of Margaret with her chopped off hair. I made her look beautiful, like a dandelion. Here's a picture of that. If they had a special class for gifted kids in art, I would definitely be in it. But they don't, which is also unfair, only for math and English. I am not so good at English, okay, fine. But this year I am in gifted class for math. And here's the bad surprise. So far, no gifts. I told Principal Rice about that problem when she got back from calming down Margaret's mother. So far, no gifts, I told her, extremely politely. Principal Rice rolled her eyes to the ceiling then, like she was looking for something up there. Ceiling snakes, maybe, just waiting to drip on you. That's what I used to be afraid of when I was little anyway. Now I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, fine, I'm afraid of pointy things, but that is all, and boomerangs. Clementine, you need to pay attention, said Principal Rice. We need to discuss Margaret's hair. What are you doing on the floor? Helping you look for ceiling snakes, I reminded her. Ceiling snakes? What ceiling snakes? She asked. See what I mean? Me paying attention, everybody else not. I'm amazed they let somebody with this problem be the boss of a school. All right now, Clementine, Principal Rice said in her I'm trying to be patient, but it's getting harder voice. Why did you cut off Margaret's hair? I was helping, I said. And then I told Principal Rice about how I'd helped her too. I answered the phone while you were gone. I ordered some new school pets and I told the gym teacher we were never going to play dodgeball again. And I made 2 appointments for you. The phone kept going dead, so I guess it's busted, but at least I helped you a little. That's what I thought. There is a look they teach a person to make in principal school that is not very nice. It looks like Principal Rice is a little upset. Chapter 2. That's Margaret now. That's her hair. They really cut all that off. Margaret was waiting for me in the lobby of our apartment building when I got off the bus after school. I showed her my picture. Oh, she screamed. I look like a dandelion. That's how good of an artist I am. Everybody always knows what it is. Dandelions are beautiful. I pulled her into the elevator, which has mirrors on all sides, so she could see. Margaret shook her head. For flowers, maybe, not for people's heads. Besides, dandelions are yellow, not brown. I look like a dead dandelion. Then she brightened up a little. Maybe that would help. If my hair were yellow. Then she took a long, I wish look at my hair in the mirror. Or red. And for the first time that day, I saw Margaret smile. I could do that for you, Margaret, I told her. Oh, sure, I can make your hair red just like mine. How? Margaret asked. I'd been so happy to see Margaret smile that I'd forgotten to figure out that part. But then a great idea popped into my head. I'm lucky that way. Great ideas are always popping into my head without me having to think them up. My mother has some special markers for her work. They color over anything, and they stay there. Spinach got a hold of one and drew all over the walls, and my parents couldn't get it off. They had to paint the room over. That's how permanent those markers are. Okay, fine. My brother's name is not really Spinach, but I got stuck with a name that's also a fruit, and it's not fair that he didn't. The only thing worse than a fruit name is a vegetable name. So that's what I think he should have. I have collected a lot of names for him. Spinach did that? Margaret said. The easy one? I squint-eyed her. The easy one? That's what my mother calls him. She says it's a good thing your parents got an easy one after you. Same thing in my family, but I'm the easy one. She says that when there's 2 kids in a family, there's always an easy one and a hard one. I guess it's a rule. Oh yeah, I said, I knew that. But I didn't. So how about those markers? Margaret reminded me. Okay, I said. If the easy one could use them, I guess the hard one could too. Let's go. And then we pressed B for basement and we rode down to my apartment. I ran into the kitchen and climbed up onto the counter and grabbed the box of markers from where my mom had hidden them and jumped down. Before I left, I yelled to my mother in the living room. Hi, Mom, everything went great at school. I was really paying attention and now I'm going to play with Margaret because everything's fine with Margaret. No problems, bye. Just so she wouldn't worry. And then I ran back to Margaret in the elevator. She looked through the box and pulled out a marker named Flaming Sunset. Then she took the cap off and held the marker against my hair. Perfect, she said. Let's go up to my apartment. I'd forgotten about that part too. Is your mother still mad? I asked. Yep, but she took 3 aspirin and went back to work. Only my brother's home. So I said okay, and we rode the elevator up to Margaret's apartment, even though I don't like Margaret's room. One reason I don't like to go in there is Mascara. Mascara always hides under Margaret's bed and hisses because he hates everyone except Margaret. But sometimes I get to see his tail, or one paw, and then I feel too sad because it reminds me of my old cat Polka Dotty who died. Last year, Polka had 3 kittens in my dresser drawer, which luckily I always leave open. My parents let me name them. Since I've discovered that the most exquisite words in the world are labels you'll find in a bathroom, I carried the kittens into the bathroom and looked around until I found them beautiful names. Fluoride and Laxative went to live with people who answered the "Free kittens, hurry!" ad my dad put in the paper, which was unfair to Polka because they were strangers. Then Margaret's mother said, "All right, Margaret, you can have a kitten as long as you take care of it yourself." And that was good because at least Mascara would be living with someone Polka knew. Except then Polka Dotty died. So now Margaret has a cat that's just fine, and I don't. But the main reason I don't like to go in Margaret's room is that it makes me feel itchy. I feel itchy in Margaret's room because it looks like a magazine picture. Everything matches and everything is exactly where it's supposed to be, in straight lines. Plus, nothing in her room is broken, and it's all clean. Not a speck of dirt is allowed in her room. Actually, Margaret looks like a magazine picture too. Her hair is always combed. Well, it used to be. And her clothes always match. And I think she probably sleeps in her bathtub because I have never seen a single smudge of dirt on her. I like her anyway, but it's not always easy. Remember the rules, Margaret said at her bedroom door. While Margaret was looking under the bed for Mascara, I accidentally touched her lamp, which is a China poodle with an umbrella that Margaret calls a parasol because she's a show-off. Margaret turned around fast, but my hands jumped into my pockets even faster. All right, I said, let's get going with the coloring. This is called changing the subject. It's very hard to color hair with a marker, let me tell you. But I did it. I colored all of Margaret's hair chunks flaming sunset. And then another really great idea popped into my head. And I drew flaming sunset curls all over her forehead and the back of her neck so her hair would look more like mine. It looked beautiful, like a giant tattoo of tangled up worms. When I am a grown-up, I will have hundreds of tattoos. Margaret looked in the mirror. Then she looked at my hair. And then she looked in the mirror again and said, "Okay, good." And then she told me she was getting bracelets put on her teeth. This is Margaret's room. That's Clementine touching a lamp with a China poodle. And that's Margaret looking for mascara under the bed. "You mean braces?" I told her. No, she said. "Bracelets. They're a special kind of braces. They're jewelry." "Oh," I said. "I knew that, but I didn't. Okay, fine." Later that night, when I was just at the hard part of falling asleep, which is lying in the dark, pretending not to think about pointy things, I heard the phone ring. My dad said, "Hi, Susan," which is Margaret's mother's name. And then he didn't say anything for a long time. And then he said, "Now, Susan, let's just look at this calmly." And then he didn't say anything for another long time. And then he said, "I'm sorry," 7 times. Which is 2 more times than he said it after he told my mother he thought her overalls were getting a little snug. Next, I heard him go into my brother's room where my mom was putting Broccoli to bed to say goodnight to him. Then I heard my parents whispering together as they walked down the hall to my room. And I thought this would be an ideal time to practice pretending to be asleep. I could feel them standing in my doorway, probably thinking, "This hard one is a lot more trouble than the easy one." Then my dad said, "I really think Clementine was just trying to help her. Margaret wanted hair like Clementine's. You know she's always been a little jealous." That's the craziest thing I'd ever heard, because Margaret is perfect. But I couldn't tell them this because the important part of pretending to be asleep is not talking. There she is pretending to be asleep. That's her room. See all the clothes and books and stuff everywhere? Which one does your room look most like? Margaret's or Clementine's? I've got to tell you, this morning, mine looks a little bit more like Clementine's. And that's Margaret's hair with the flaming sunset curls. All right, guys, we will pick back up on Monday with chapter 3. I hope that you liked it. Clementine is just really silly and really funny. And she's always getting into some kind of trouble. So I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I've posted some stuff in the classroom. I hope you have fun with it. One of them is a joke. So I hope you think it's funny. I did. I laughed when I read it. So I hope you have a great weekend again. And let me know if you need me. I'm always here. Bye, guys.